Hey, you guys. So, I have to tell you, I am so incredibly proud of all of you. You guys have made it through your first full week of our Daniel Plan Challenge. Oh my goodness, can you believe how quickly it's flying by us? Wow. Those of you that are doing it for the 10-day plan, you're almost there, dude. You are almost to that finish line. And so I'm excited for you. And I really am. I'm glad to see just how far you've come on your journey and all the progress that you guys have made. Getting to know you all more. It has just been such an incredible gift. Now, I will tell you that for today's talk, it is one area where I have to admit I can maybe be quite the amateur or even quite the hypocrite. And I know that sounds so bad, doesn't it? And here I am, doing this challenge with you guys and doing this Bible study with you guys and being a self-proclaimed hypocrite in this area. I'm so good about being able to tell you guys, hey, you really need to rest. You really need to take the time to let your body recover and restore and all of that. But in all honesty, I stink at it. I really do. Don't ask me why, but I can be so quick to just like rush off into so many things, so much more than what God ever intended me to. I get caught up in wanting to see things transpire in my life, and I set goals and I want to see those things realized, and I end up pushing myself way beyond my limits, only to have to stop and go through and start sorting and pitching and shifting things around and shedding some things in my life because it gets to be too much. I can be such a compulsive Martha. I mean, any of you who know me, you may have noticed or even heard me say, like, I just don't sit well. Don't ask me why, but I have the hardest time just sitting down or kicking my feet up and feeling like I'm not doing anything. I stink at getting unplugged, and I just get totally frenzied when I start feeling like bored. I don't even know what's wrong with me sometimes where I keep just looking at things, and I know I'm busy. I know I'm busy. I know I have a lot going on, but for whatever reason, I still pick up these little extras throughout the day or throughout the week and think, well, this won't take me that long, or I'll just knock this out, and it'll be taken care of. It'll be no problem at all, right? Until it is a problem, a big fat problem, and Mama's ready to flip her ever loving lid, and it's really nobody's fault but my own, right? If we're really being honest, there are times when it even spills over to where people who love me and care for me and want to help end up, helping me carry things maybe they weren't supposed to be carrying to begin with either. So I see where I have to start being better at putting myself in check and watching that I don't do that, right? As much as I am all for playing big, I really see a need for the discernment in what I take on. It's not just beneficial, I see where it's crucial to my ultimate wellness and to my success, right? When I take on like all these extras, it may seem like it's not that much. It may seem like this tiny little pebble, like that's nothing, I'm gonna knock it out in no time. But you start lugging around a bag full of pebbles and it can get really heavy really fast, right? You keep adding those pebbles in there, and eventually it's going to get weighty enough that you're going to start to buckle and break, and you're going to have to go through too and start removing some of those things to get some of that weight off of your shoulders so that you can, stretch out and stand up and move forward like you need to. I wonder, how often do we as women, as wives, as mothers, as friends, how often do we pick up so many things without really even giving it a second thought? We have big hearts and big hopes and big dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm asking is, are we actually sabotaging ourselves by attempting to give more of ourselves than we actually have to give? God is infinite and without limitations. But how often do we forget that we are not? We all have our own limitations, and we have to respect that, right? Matthew 11:28 through 30 says, Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. You know, even as I know better, I get that so backwards when I go around living my life as though me playing big or swinging for the fences and really just going for it, in hopes of achieving, great things or whatever, or seeing, big things come to pass or whatever. I get it mixed up when I start thinking that somehow teeters on me maxing myself out. He says it right there in his word that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Me, the burden that I would put on me is it gets very heavy at times. So why do we do that? Why do we have this tendency to just keep piling things on? I compulsively overdo it, and I'll be honest, at times it really wears me down. I love living at a faster pace, right? But there must be a time for rest. And I know for me, I have a tendency to choke that out. And I'll tell you, I had my mother-in-law here recently call me out on this one. And she's very good at doing that in a very gentle, loving kind of way. She is incredible. I absolutely love my mother-in-law. And so I was talking to her because I had hit the point where I just had way overdone it, and I was just going too hard for too long and was to the point of just being ready to collapse. And it was starting to take its toll on me to the point that I was not only exhausted, but it was suppressing my immune system and everything else. And it was just stress and overload. I wasn't down with some virus or bacteria. I hadn't come down with anything contagious or something like that. I was just physically overdone. And so I'm talking to her and I'm like, well, what do you recommend? She's a doctor of naturopathy, so I'm always picking her brain. I love picking that woman's brain. And I'm saying, well, I'm taking this and I'm doing this and I'm using this and I'm trying this and I'm doing all these things. And she finally, kicks back at me. She's like, look it's not just a matter of what you're putting in your body. This. It's not just a matter of what you're putting in your body. You not resting when you know that you need to rest. The damage that you're doing to your body is no different than if you were going out smoking cigarettes and loading up on alcohol. And she's right. I am right here, telling you guys, hey, we need to take care of our bodies and we need to make healthful choices and live healthy, vibrant lives. And we need to be good stewards of our health and all of this. And in this area, in the area of rest, is where I have to admit that I've been really cruddy at it. I have not been a very good steward of my health and how then my treatment of my body as one of the resources that God has given me. I haven't been a very good steward of that when I am putting a load on it where I'm not giving myself the rest that I need. And so there you have that. She called me out on that one, but she's right. We can do a lot of damage to our bodies when we refuse to rest. We may think that these little extras that we're taking on are not that much. We may feel like, well, I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to, knock out the dishes and do a little laundry. But, when we're adding these things in on a day when we should be resting, as God tells us we should be resting, then, are we walking in wisdom at that point when we refuse to just do as we know that we should? We look at rest. God didn't just tell us, hey, it would be nice if you rested. He didn't give it as like just a gentle recommendation or even a word of wisdom or a piece of sound advice. He gave it as a command. You look at God himself, creator and sustainer of all life, and he made it a point to take a day of rest, not because he physically needed a day of rest, I think he did so to set the pace for us, and to remind us that we're not so important that we can't afford to take that rest. As moms, especially, and just being women, we have this tendency to carry such a load that we somehow think that if we don't keep taking care of everything, like if we don't make sure that every loose end is tended to, and do take care of every little thing on the checklist, like everything's just going to come crashing down, right? And we do that to the point that a lot of us get to our breaking points. I don't know about you guys. I know, maybe this may not be where you're at in particular, but I know a lot of you are right in this same boat with me. I see some of you guys, you're out there, you're rocking out your lives, you're hitting it on the home front and bringing it in your businesses and at your workplace, and then you're volunteering on the side, and you're doing all these extras, and you're not really taking the time to rest. You guys are messaging me, and you know who you are, sending me messages talking about work when you should be enjoying your weekend and enjoying your rest. I'm just picking at you guys. I love talking to you, but no joke, we've got to get better about just saying, you know what? I tell you what I've been trying to get better about doing is hitting that do not disturb button on my phone and my on the iPad and on all sorts of stuff. Closing the computer, just put it away, and making it a point to take that day down, because I have to be honest, taking a whole day to rest, taking a whole day down is a challenge for me. We can think of a lot of things that require discipline, but some of you, I'm gonna challenge you to exercise discipline in your resting and making it a point to allow yourselves the time to recover. For some of us, it's the drive and ambition that has that tendency to lead us to fill in every nook and cranny of our lives, to the point that we leave no room for the spontaneous, or even time to truly just retreat into the arms of God, just to get away with God. Just because, not because everything's fallen apart and it's just, okay, God, I need you to fix it. By all means, he's ready and willing to be by your side for that too. But what about the time just to get away, just to follow God up the side of the mountain, and just experience him in a new way? I know for me, even as I record this, I have to ask myself, how many times have I missed out on that? How many times have I missed out on what could have been some really awesome times with God because I was just too busy? We get we get really busy too, for that FOMO. That FOMO can get us really busy really quick. That fear of missing out. We have so many things going on, and then when it'd be the day that we plan to take the time to rest and retreat, that those time sensitive opportunities would arise, and we just got to do it, or else we're really gonna miss out on something that could be a really big thing. But what if we looked at our time of rest like that? What if we looked at our time with God like that? Like, what if we had that like that same mindset? Like, I don't want to miss out. Like, I'm going to safeguard this time that I'm setting aside to rest and retreat into the arms of my Abba Father, and I don't want to even think about missing out on that time, because I don't know what he's got planned, but I know whatever he's got planned, I don't want to miss out on that. And that right there is for me. We could get through an entire week or month or year and look back on all of the awesome things that we have accomplished, things that we have created and brought about, and things that we have seen come to pass, and be so excited to look back on those things. But I have to say, if we look back and we can count on one hand the times that we've really just gotten to get away with God, or if we're looking at it and saying, calculating how many times we've missed out on that, then I'd say the whole year was pretty well a bust. I don't want to stand on the other side of my days and my weeks and my months and my years to be pondering how many opportunities to get away with God I missed out on because I refused to rest, because I somehow got duped into thinking that I was too important to rest, or that I had too much going on to rest, or that, things would fall apart if I didn't take the time to do so. Rest is very important. And so I really hope that you guys are taking the time to rest and to retreat into the arms of your Abba Father. We've got to break free from what has become the norm. We have too many distractions. We have way too many distractions. I have heard it said before that focus is the IQ of the modern age. And if that's so, I have to wonder how many of us are dulling ourselves down. How much am I dulling myself down when I get myself so overloaded with distractions that I can't just stop and focus in on what God has for me, on what He would have me lock in on and move towards. We live in a culture that exalts busyness. We wear it like some sort of badge of importance, so much so that we have this tendency to look at people who aren't on overload as though they're either insignificant or lazy, when maybe they're just maybe it's not that they're lazy, maybe it's just that they're a little smarter or wiser than some of the rest of us with their time, huh? I believe that we should step to the plate and bring it when it comes to this life and all that we are involved in. I believe that we should carry a standard of excellence and bring our best to everything that we do, but we would be foolish to lose sight of what real success is, or where real success comes from, right? For months, God has been working on me in the area of increasing the margins in my life. Like, I have this tendency to draw all up in the margins. Like, I've got this little bit of space here, this little bit of space here, and I can add this over here and add that over there, and create this nice full big picture. But when I do that, I have a way of choking out the time that I really should be safeguarding to really just enjoy the most precious gifts that God has given me in life. And so I think we all have to work on that. I have been working really hard here lately at rearranging things and shifting things and moving things around in hopes of creating that margin. But if I want to be honest, and being honest with myself, the reason why I don't have the margins that I probably should today is because I haven't been as wise or diligent in setting clear boundaries. And the number one person that I haven't really been setting those good and clear boundaries with has been me, myself, right here, right? I have not set clear enough boundaries with myself. And now that you guys know that, I'm giving you full permission to hold me accountable. By all means, hold me completely accountable. Because the truth is that my being my most effective is absolutely impacted by my determination to safeguard all of the resources that God has given me to be used for the tasks for which He gave them, right? So that's my focus, my energy, my creativity, my time, whatever it may be. Even the time that I should be utilizing to retreat and rest in Him. Some of us have got to learn to put some things down and lighten up a bit, right? To rest in God and be able to just completely retreat into Him, knowing that in that, when we make it a point to seek Him first, seek Him and His kingdom first, that all those other things will be given unto us, right? That's where we are made our most pointed and effective. Rest is a discipline, and it may seem odd to think of it that way, because when we think of discipline, sometimes we think of other action items and things that we need to do, or plans that we need to implement, and habits that we need to make a part of our lives. But rest in itself is also a discipline, and I believe it is a true key to our bringing it at our best in this life. Not in trying to do as much as we can, as quickly as we can, or in reaching the top floors of some man-made structures, but in determining to be faithful to the God-given dream within each and every one of us, and to be committed to the journey that we get to have with him through it all. That journey is so incredibly important. It's important for us, it's important to God that we enjoy that journey with him as a priority in our lives, right? Psalm 91 says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." Rest does not just refer to sleeping, but it's also a state of abiding in God wherever we're at. He gives us a rest to our souls in even the wildest storms. Psalm 127, you guys, I can't tell you how many times he's taken me here to reiterate this point, but Psalm 127 says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guard stands watch in vain. In vain you rise up early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, but God gives rest to those he loves." Don't be fooled into toiling. Don't let the inclination to do the most that you can impede your ability to do the best that you can, or to even just enjoy the best things in life. Look and listen. I want to know, what things do you sense God prompting you to maybe put down today? What are some ways you think he is prompting you to lighten your load, to free yourself up for the greater things that he has in store and that he has in mind for you? I can say with no uncertainty that it's not only critical to your physical health, but also essential to your overall well-being, that you maybe go through and shed some things, and maybe take some time to rest and retreat into God, and get that time away, get that time to recharge and be restored in his presence, and in his loving arms, and in his word, to just have your, that refreshing, that replenishing that comes to your whole being when you do that. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Thank you for taking the time out to hop in on this discussion. I look forward to hearing your comments and your feedback, and to catching up with you guys more. So tell me, what do you think on this matter? Are you getting enough rest? I hope that you guys are enjoying a great rest today. And if today is not that day for you, that you have already got a day marked out in the very near future, boxed off, squared away, to just get away and retreat and relax and be restored. So thank you guys so much. Take care. God bless. And may you enjoy great health even as your soul prospers.